And welcome back to the last day of this amazing Arduino week, actually. So this is the last day of Arduino week. See, can we redo it from scratch? Oh no, we are live, so we have to keep going like this. All right, so
fake it till you make it, brother.
Absolutely. So welcome everyone. I have the absolute honor and pleasure to introduce you to Bruce Sterling, who doesn't really need a lot of introduction because he's an incredibly famous sci-fi author, commentator, a journalist, a bunch of other things. And so he's just back from South by Southwest. He has a bunch of things he needs to get off his chest.
Indeed, I do.
So I'm going to let him tell us a little bit about the experience.
So yeah, that's true. I think you should have science fiction writers at all your event. So yeah, I was in Austin, which is my hometown as it happens, for South by Southwest Interactive. And I brought some show and tell for our international audience here. Here's my giveaway bag from the prestigious National Science Foundation. Us science fiction writers love them. Here's my lanyard bag as a speaker, because I always speak at South by Southwest. I knew the organizers. I've been going there for 30 years. It's a great place to spot trends and so forth. Here's my giveaway plague mask, because of course COVID stopped South by for the last couple of years, and this is the first time in 3 years I was able to go there. And of course some people did catch COVID at South by. It's quite risky to have a huge public event, but they did in fact have a huge public event. And I'm going to tell you what I thought was going on there and what this might have to do with Arduino and the Arduino community. So what gives with this? European Union at South by Southwest beer coaster. All right, keep Austin weird. On the other side, yeah, the European Union was there and kind of busy. I mean, they kind of had a lot on their minds. So if you were wandering around the halls, they're doing some futurist trend spotting. There's a lot of metaverse. There's a lot of non-fungible tokens. There's a whole lot of VR and AR because people have been talking about those online behind their screens for 2 years. But the thing that really struck me there, I mean, I'm not surprised that they would talk about NFTs or metaverses, because people are throwing bucket loads of venture capital money at them. But the thing that struck me is that, South by Southwest is a significant event because along with being about technology, it's also about music and cinema. And usually the music people at South by and the tech people and the cinema people are very clannish and they don't have much to do with one another. But this year, you really couldn't tell them apart. And it was because of the pandemic. It's because there hasn't been any music and there hasn't been any cinema. There's only been streaming and, live musical events. So, and I think this is permanent. I mean, when you went into the giant dealers hall where the industrial sponsors of South by Southwest are, it was simply called Creative Industries, the Creative Industries Expo. And I think that's kind of a key word for possible Arduino community guys. It's like, what do you do? Well, I like to mess with electronic actuators and I like to hook up Internet of Things devices. No, you're in creative industries, okay? It's just kind of cool, it's like, it's okay. It's like you can get a job in the movies. You can get a job as a VJ. You can hang out with musicians. I'm creative industries now, right? So they were kind of happy to see one. It was one of the jollier ones. It wasn't as big as other South bys, but it had a very kind of intense and forward-looking feeling about it. And there was money around and they had survived and they were happy to get on with what was going on. But I think what was really going on there, which was more significant, was, well, basically it was Margrethe Vestager. You may not know who Margrethe Vestager is. Margrethe Vestager is basically the European Union's digital czar. Mm-hmm. So she has some official Brussels title, which I can't remember or memorize. It's very long. She's a Eurocrat. But Margrethe has been in power for quite a while. and has been known to show up at South by. She was there in 2019, and she was there this year, and she was kind of bringing the noise. She gave this speech about EU regulation and how it was going to reshape the technological landscape, and that law and order was going to return, as she put it, with a vengeance. Law and order with a vengeance. Okay, so what the heck are the Europeans doing? Okay, nobody at Texas paid any attention to her. They don't know anything about Europe and Texas. They don't care. They like guns and tequila in Texas. They don't know, but this was nevertheless a significant announcement. And then Margrethe returned immediately after South by Southwest, went to Brussels, and managed to get the Digital Markets Act passed. The DMA, which is probably the most ambitious cyber regulatory thing that the European Union has ever done. And I don't think she and her fellow people are kidding about the DMA. I mean, I think they really intend to sort of lay down the law here. And there's an old saying, war is the health of the state, okay? I mean, normally the state isn't going to do a lot. If you're actually being invaded by Russians, the state's going to get kind of anxious. Okay, there was the DMA, and then there's the European Chips Act, which is Europe's attempt to build chip fabs all over the sovereign territory of the EU. They're going to drop billions on this. They're like putting up things for the CHIPS Act now. It's like, please send in your commentary. Where would you like us to put the huge factory? Will Intel help us? Intel's lifting their hands. Oh yeah, we'd be happy to be European Intel. We're like falling all over ourselves. Did you say 5 billion? We've got 7 billion. Okay, the CHIPS Act is a big deal. And it's the European response to the breakdown in the electronic supply chain, which people have been talking about during Arduino week. I couldn't help but notice that, because if you're a hobbyist and you're just trying to get your electronics, you're suddenly noticing they just don't show up, okay? You press the Amazon button, nothing shows up. Okay, you press the Amazon button, nothing shows up, and you can't build cars or doorknobs or anything else. That's like a security problem. And the EU is going to respond to that because they don't like it. So you got the DMA and you've got the CHIPS Act, and I think they're going to change the landscape quite a lot. This is going to be what European cyber sovereignty is going to look like. People at Facebook, they don't believe this is going to happen. Mark Zuckerberg appeared virtually at South by Southwest. He's like, I'm building my metaverse and we're going to put NFTs in it and everybody's going to buy them and it's all going to be great. Okay, you know, I'm sure Mark wants to do that. Mark likes Hawaii. He likes virtual reality. He wants everybody to live in this Hawaiian virtual reality. You know, if you happen to be using Facebook as a platform, as I know Arduino does, you're going to have problems if Mark suddenly decides that he wants you to be in his virtuality and do all your business in 3D using NFTs. And he won't hesitate to kick you to the curb if you don't do what Mark likes, because that's his history. And he's going to be hit on the head with this DMA Act thing. He's threatened to leave the European Union over their regulatory activities. Yeah, Margrethe Vestager is going to slam the door on the way out. It's like, get lost, we're going to replace you with scalable European platforms that obey our new laws. I think he'll be surprised, and a lot of American companies will be surprised, and also Chinese companies will be surprised, and Russian companies, God help them, are going to get a dystopian treatment where everything's cut off, and they're basically going to be like beaten like a dog in public in order to demonstrate what the powers that be can do to you. So this is quite a rambunctious future situation that we're looking at. I mean, at least we're not Russian. I mean, I've been there. That's not nice. So we're looking at a world of regionalized secure chips. Like they say, the security in IoT is like, S in IoT stands for security. Okay, we're not looking at that kind of Internet of Things. We're looking at more of a cyber sovereignty of things with like very carefully tracked supply chains that are kind of war-proofed and crime-proofed, and more like the European domain of control system is like the wine comes from here and it like goes over there and here's like your certification in your little bottle. And you know, and even that non-fungible token thing, I mean, people talk about it as if it was art. Okay, I'm an art critic. I know a lot about electronic art. If you actually want some interesting non-fungible token art, all right, take it from me here. Feral file. feralfile.com. Like all the art in there, open source art, made in processing. Really good art. It's great. It's awesome. Groovy stuff. You want some good NFT art, go to Feralfile. The rest of it, basically coin art, okay? It's numismatics. It's art that you paste onto tokens and then you buy and sell the tokens. Non-fungible tokens, okay? They're not going to change the world, but they're a new thing. They're a new thing in the way that open source was like a new thing. I mean, first you get a network and you get free open source content. And then you get digital rights management attached to the content. But non-fungible tokens are digital rights management with no content. You're just selling the DRM and speculating in the DRM. And that's actually a new thing. I mean, I think it's significant and interesting. And I expect if you're a guy who's into open source hardware, you're going to find competitors showing up who are doing NFT hardware, tokenized hardware, where everything's kind of like locked down and communicates, right? And like hands off from token to token. All right, what that looks like in the future, I don't really know. It might look a little bit like the old IBM token ring system, but it's not the global world that we lived up to, that we lived before the plague and the war. We've had a plague and a war, and a new thing is coming. I don't know what it looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if Arduino comes up with some kind of division for this. I mean, I know you've got Arduino Pro, the industrial thing. You might want Arduino Gov, okay? Or Arduino MDA, just like the thing that kind of works on this. Where to look for hints? I would go to Olivetti. Olivetti, and I know you know a lot about the history of Olivetti because Israel is like one of the homelands of Arduino and so forth. But this is what, Olivetti is what European electronics looked like before globalization and sort of before the free internet. And they had a lot of innovative ideas that were never put into practice just because history hit them on the ear. Okay, history is hitting on the other ear now. That's what's actually going on. And that was the news from South by Southwest. So thank you for your attention. And now we're going to take some questions here.
Yeah, that's...
If there are any, if you were following that.
There's actually, I saw one question that's unrelated to this, but no, I think just to make a quick comment, it's an interesting perspective that you're bringing, because obviously there's a lot of question about the sovereignty of the of technology, and the fact that Europeans need to make themselves slightly more independent from a number of even from the US. Don't take it badly, but
no, it's if anything, people in Texas are getting anxious about belonging to the United States at this point. They've got a lot of Texas first sentiment in there. But yeah, I mean, it's been customary for like, I don't know, 20 or 30 years when anybody gets regional in front of the internet, they all say, oh, this is stupid, you'll go broke, and nobody's going to want your regional crap, and the global people will just go around you and so forth. But we didn't have a war, and especially we didn't have an economic sanctions war. And we didn't have cyber war and electronic war going on where people are deliberately screwing with other guys' supply chains and trying to limit their ability to build electronic stuff. Okay, that's just new. And we're making war now the way we've made everything else. And it's just going to it's really going to stir the pot.
I have a couple of questions for you. One is, do you think that the digital democracy, like the kind of being creating in Taiwan, could find its way to the West one day?
Yeah, I think anybody who comes up with a good model for a collaborative platform could do very well. And the closest we got to that right now is DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. So everybody's trying to figure out, okay, how do we use the blockchain to reinvent a labor union? Okay, there's a million labor unions, there's a million different kinds of co-ops, there's all different kinds of, there's even different kinds of open source hardware guys, like robot open source hardware guys, You never hear about them. They don't have a big public thing. They're not maker guys. They're really kind of off in a place. But they've got an organized, collaborative platform. We just kind of come in with your ROS. It's like, I got a robot. It's like, put it on GitHub. It's like, let's make this happen. It's like the robot thing. Robot thing's going great. So yeah, and you could move all of that onto a DAO or any kind of Slack, a Discord, any kind of collaborative platform you want. But you'd have to actually organize people and come up with some situation where they feel better off at the end than they were when they came in, right? Mm-hmm. And increasingly, Facebook doesn't do that for people at all. I mean, people get on Facebook, they feel like they have to go there, and then they feel like they're spied on and relentlessly punished.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, that doesn't smell good to me. I would worry about them.
It's actually an interesting question. Somebody saying that they actually never read any of your sci-fi books.
Right.
Really bad. So they are asking, where could be a good book to start to kind of, as a way to kind of get introduced to your...
Well, at South by Southwest, I was signing my new book, which is called Robot Artists and Black Swans. And it's a collection of short stories, all of them set in Italy. It's an English language book published in the USA, which is a fantascienza book in which all the stories are Italian-themed science fiction. So go read that.
So repeat the title.
Robot Artists and Black Swans. It's got a lot of black swans and a lot of robot artists in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should also check out the book from this young Italian writer, Bruno Argento.
That's him, yeah. That's Bruno Argento's book. But someday I might finish the Bruno Argento novel. But yeah, I like fantascienza, actually. I get a lot of inspiration out of Italian science fiction.
So there's another question, probably the last one in terms of time. What shape do you think online communities might take on Web3 technology, which could remove the likes of Meta as the gatekeepers?
Yeah. Well, if you're into Bored Apes, Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks, they have just become employees of Andreessen Horowitz. I mean, that's what happens. Venture capital shows up, they're going to buy you out. You're going to end up as a corporate drone in a cell working for Andreessen Horowitz. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are other methods of organizing communities like governmental ones. You could go join some discussion with the European Union and kind of contribute things to your city council or your smart city. I don't know. There's a million. There are a lot of traps there. Generally speaking, whoever it is who's willing to do the budget is going to end up running your community. So you probably just ought to make the treasurer the boss from the very beginning. I don't know. I mean, I've been involved with a lot of electronic communities. My feeling is they last like art movements. They're lucky if they last 7 years. They're exciting for 2 years. They do something good. Then people get bored and restless and they want to do something else.
Mm-hmm. The 7 years number is actually quite interesting. Once I was talking to a friend of mine about both the path of Arduino and his company,
right.
And we realized that when you have an idea to the point that somebody starts to really gain momentum and people figure out that you're doing something, it's 7 years.
I think that's actually a good thing to know. And you want to have a graceful exit situation. You don't want to be born into an electronic community and get a passport and live there 70 years. It's just not going to work. That's not what electronics is about.
All right. So at the moment, there are no other questions from the community.
That's nice to hear.
Because now we're going to go and get a beer.
Yeah, I need one. That'd be good. Grappa. Let's go get a grappa. This is Italy.
Actually, this morning, sorry, did we break the fourth wall? No, I was in Ivrea this morning, and I went to the museum with all the Olivetti computers, and I got the Torta Novecento, which is the speciality of Ivrea. So we're going to hit the Torta Novecento. No. So thank you, Bruce, for coming.
Sure.
And,
thanks for having me.
No, it's always a pleasure.
I enjoyed the other videos, by the way. I was actually watching you for days on end here. I was jet lagged. I had nothing better to do.
Yeah, there's one day that you cracked me up completely. Well, you don't really crack me up, but you changed your name on Twitter to Portenta Machine Control.
Yeah.
And I got a text from the CEO of Arduino saying, hey, Bruce just changed his name to Portenta.
That's a beautiful name, Portenta Machine Control.
It is a pretty cool name.
It sounds like a cool name for a punk rock song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
All right.
So thank you very much. So we're gonna stay with me for just a second.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna say goodbye to people, and then there's gonna be a little break. And after us, we have our colleague Caterina Robé, who is gonna host the second hour. She's gonna do a much better and much more professional job than I did. And thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Well, Caterina will see you in 2 minutes. Bye.
Welcome back to Arduino Week 2022, and thank you, Massimo, for the introduction. I don't know about a better job, but at least I'll try not to do a mess. I'm Caterina Romè, and I'm the executive assistant to our CEO, Fabio Violante. Today, I will walk you through some incredible projects from our beloved community that we are about to see. Let's start talking about intellectual property with Arduino platforms. Our next guest is Manuel Barros, adjunct professor of the Department of Electrical Engineering from Istituto Politecnico de Tomar, whose current research interests are in environment monitoring and sustainability, as well as IoT and smart cities. But what Manuel will talk about is open source hardware, the maker movement, understanding of OSH licenses, intellectual property, and business models with the Arduino platform. Before we start, just a quick heads up. After our first two clips, we will have a Q&A session with our guests, so please do not forget to write your questions in the chat, and you can start from now. I bet you're really curious on what Manuel is about to say, so let's watch the video.
Hi everybody, my name is Manuel Barros. I came from Polytechnic Institute of Tomar, Portugal. I'm a professor in computer science and electronics, and I'm doing my research in the Smart Cities Research Center. I'm also an Arduino enthusiast, and I'm involved in the organizations of several Arduino events in my regions with my students, professors, and the community. My talk is about IP, intellectual property, with Arduino platforms. Let's dive in the slides. I hope you enjoy it. Let's start. This talk is about intellectual property with the Arduino platform. From 2014, I was involved in the celebrations of Arduino Day in my Polytechnic Institute, and I'm very glad to join you today in this edition of Arduino Week 2022. Arduino, as all we know, I suppose that, is one of the most famous microcontrollers platform in the world. The Arduino products and technology had a surprising evolution, and from the business viewpoint, its success became one of the most famous cases of study. And I believe that part of Arduino's success is related with IP and open source based approach used by the company. Traditionally, IP and open source seems to have two antagonistic visions, two opposite visions. But we will see how can these two concepts can be mixed together and how a company can take advantage on using them. The open source is based on the common good sharing concept, where the knowledge is considered a common good, like water and air, and should be free. This movement inspires the sharing of products that are made available openly to the entire community, and this movement starts in 17th of last century with the open source software movement. Here you can see some remarkable applications, examples, that were created in the base of this open source software movement and have a great impact in our lives. GitHub, Linux, WordPress, and more recently TensorFlow, Google Chrome, Netflix, and so on. In the last decade, a similar movement arises, an open hardware movement called the Maker Movement. Fab Labs, hackerspaces, and makerspaces can be seen as the physical representations of the maker movement. These open spaces gives freedom to people to control their technology while sharing knowledge, experience, and projects. Maker movement in literature is known as a new way to develop education, innovation, design thinking, and a lot of other terms. Several successful companies all over the world have emerged from these spaces and from this movement, and Arduino is one of them, as I told you before. Let's finally see what's beyond the license model. What can IP contribute to innovation and creativity, and how to generate value from this type of licenses. The Arduino logo is a trademark. It is protected by law, can only be used by Arduino products. All other products, including software, manual, guides, photos, and importantly boards, the Arduino boards, can be used by the community under the license of Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike. The Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license, or CC by SA, gives the right to share, to modify and update, and to use the new product in business. However, you must give credit to the original author and to release the new product under the same license. These things, I think, are the most important things to take in count. Everything is free, everything is open, but you must to share with the community with the same license. I think this is the formula to the success, in my opinion, because all these together create a chain of reaction, of creation and knowledge sharing in the community. It's difficult to generate value in open market. The open source hardware can bring significant benefits to a business organization. People are used to buy products online. This is good. Another way is create. Another advantage is the ability to create a robust community. This is important. There are other indirect benefits like decrease of investment in research and development and product support, can shorten product development time, gives the company more visibility, can attract more creative peoples to the organizations. So this is a fantastic advantage that can bring value and benefits to the company. Let's see a brief overview of open source hardware in Europe and in the world. The open source hardware promises to transform many industries, as you can see. Here we see several examples of open source hardware. River sample, hydrogen car, life track, do it yourself tractor, Tesla open source patent technology is open to the public, and other companies, important companies in the world. Many things when we talk about open source, many of us think about open source in software, but the hardware is is very important nowadays. Here we can see the distribution of makerspaces in European Union. It is present in all countries of Europe, as we can see, but have a great impact in France, Germany, and Italy. Now, for the conclusions, I must say that IP in the context of open source markets in hardware presents great challenges. But there is an important formula that we must take in account if we want success. First, to have success, make something remarkable. Second, try to create opportunities for the community to learn and to use and remix the work. And third, think of ways you can make money with it and deliver a quality product and service. The solution presented by successful companies in this area involves important, intelligent balancing with property rights and a broad access to the products. And I think this formula is fantastic. As Massimo Banzi said, open source is a great way to foster innovation, freedom, and creativity. With this, I finish my presentation, and I'm available to any questions if you want. Thank you for inviting me. My personal thoughts goes to these guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel, and see you later with the Q&A. Please don't forget to add the comments here, write your questions. So, have you ever thought about putting wings on a BMX bike? Paz Aerospace, our next guest, is a single dad of a 6-year-old boy who wanted to do something for his son, the community, and himself. Let's hear how he created a winged system for the BMX bike. He called it Paz Aerospace. Let's go.
Hi, and welcome to Paz Aerospace. My name is Paz, and I'm the founder. We're very excited to be here at Arduino Week 2022 for sort of an alpha release of our flying bike. We're committed to DIY, open source, open hardware, right to repair. I'm going to take a step out here, and we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty details of what we did here. Okay, we've moved the camera around to the side of the flying bike, and you can clearly see the back wing now behind me. It's fabric covered over wood, and I'm going to put an end plate there, but you can see how the structure, the airfoil structure is created there. And we're going to do the same thing to the front. This is the wood. We're going to coat it with fabric too, and there'll be more details about the materials we use. It's all very actually ecologically okay stuff. No bad fumes. So that's a real kind of plus, and that's an innovation that we developed here at Paz Aerospace. So pazaerospace.com, that's the go-to as I point out things that are going to change. So this is the hotspot, the software Arduino Hotspot here. So just a quick rundown here. This is the battery pack for the servos. This is the USB power block solar panel there for the Arduino. This is transceiver, just RF 24, and this is the 6050. Big shout out to Mechatronics for that 6050 tutorial. So we've established what's going on here with the Arduino. I'm going to hop on the bike right now. So, oh, jack. All right, that was smooth. I'm going to keep it. So, we've got this there, and then the wires come out here to each end of each wing. I'm just going to talk about this wing, but the exact same thing is happening over here. You can actually see right now, if I can lift this up, very light. You can see right now how the 6050, right? If I was tilted this way, I'd want some up aileron. If I'm tilted down this way, I want some down aileron to get me nice and level. So that is working right now. It's just that, up aileron, and then boom, you're going to see it go down there. So this is coming out here with the signal, and it goes right into this. Well, the servo's right here, and this is getting the power from here. So the servo here is, I'm just connecting it. This is just the parts that come with it. I got a one of the little assemblies screwed onto a piece of plywood here. This is the kind of the lever part. And again, I'm tightening up. I'm taking measurements right now and firming all that stuff up. This is a piece of wire. This is the push rod. And then it goes into the aileron horn here. And again, you can see, I'm gonna get a close-up shot of that. You can see that moving up and down as I tilt the bike. And that's pretty much it. Running tests now is where I need to go. Once I get everything tightened up, taking it outside and just facing it into the wind, it should be stable. It shouldn't fall over. Just standing it into the wind like this this would be the first test that I do as soon as I get the wings skinned. Is bring it out, and it should stand with just a gentle breeze blowing in, and that'll establish my software is on the right track as far as stability. From there, taking it to the next level where the wings become an adjunct to maybe popping wheelies. Can it keep you stable in a wheelie? You know, that kind of thing. So lots of really fun stuff coming up. Again, please, Paz Aerospace, Paz Aerospace.com. I'll be keeping you up to date there. Thanks. And I think we're going to do some Q&A now, huh?
Okay, thank you, Manuel and Paz, and welcome to our Q&A session. So let's see what are the questions for you. For Manuel, hi. So what are some strategies for maintaining a successful open source business despite, by definition, enabling cheaper knockoffs from competitors?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be here, to be present in this important meeting. And I appreciate your questions. I think I have a lot of one, so I'm trying to answer the best I can. First of all, I must say that I'm not an expert in IP, intellectual property, or open source hardware also, because this is a study that I made for another project, and the answers that I'll give you, it's only my opinion, so I'm not an expert. If you want really a good answer, maybe it's better to talk with a lawyer or something like that. So in the first question, what are the strategies to maintain a successful business? Of course, I would like to know the really answer to this question, but from the experience and that I have, So to be something, of course, it is difficult to answer this question because how I can make successful with the open source business. But what is the best question that I can give to this is that maybe I don't have a formula, but I can be inspired by other guys with other companies. One of them is, of course, Arduino that we are talking about today. And what Arduino make is maybe I can respond in three parts. They build something remarkable. Arduino platforms. It was a remarkable thing because for the electronics, before Arduino, the panorama in electronics is one thing. After that, the Arduino improved a lot the study of electronics and so on. So first of all, to be successful, we must produce something that is remarkable. Okay, then of course you have the opportunity to protect your product by the intellectual properties with a closed license, if you prefer, but inspired in Arduino, you can open source your project, your hardware. So the second thing is to open your project to the community. So I think that these two things are the most important things to make success in open source. So first of all, of course, we must to have something that is new, remarkable, or that solves something that nobody can do it before. And the second thing I think is really to open these to the public.
Thank you, Manuel. I'm sorry, we have short time.
So
I think this answer was already quite a lot. So thank you for your reply. And I have a question for Paz. I will try to go a bit quicker. They're asking, what kind of skills are you making use of for these kinds of projects besides the electronics, design, woodworking, etc.?
Hi, buongiorno. I'm using a lot of the skills, woodworking skills that I've developed. I have a past life as a musician, and I learned how to build a lot of instruments there. So using wood and also the structural parts of a guitar, stresses and torsions and twisting translate very well to building a wing. So that's the first thing. And skinning it is the same thing. I've done a lot of work in the arts, and when I frame a canvas and stretch a canvas, it gave me experience in stretching fabric, and that translated very well to building the BMX with wings. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we are unfortunately out of time for this Q&A session. So if you, Manuel and Paz, want to add anything, or if you want to say anything, and then we unfortunately need to move on.
Okay, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here, and that's all. And
okay, great. And
Thank
I just
you,
like to say, come to the website. It's a splash page right now with a link to the Arduino. I'm going to be adding videos of the build and software as things go ahead. This is a bit of an alpha release for us. So we're very happy to be part of the Arduino Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, moving to our next project. So while we watch, please don't forget to write your questions in the chat over here, I think. So, Platformia is a platform that allows you to develop in a pro environment. Let's have a look with Pascal Rubruck how we develop an Arduino library in a professional environment. Pascal is an electronics engineer with currently leading the firmware development team at toolsquare.io. Welcome, Pascal, and let's see your project.
Hi, and welcome to my talk for Arduino Week 2022. My name is Pascal Robroek, and I'm an electronics hardware engineer located in Belgium, Antwerp, currently working as a firmware developer for a startup company, toolsquare.io. If you have any questions, further questions on this talk, you see my email address, my GitHub member name, as well as my LinkedIn profile. So, okay, let's get started. So why develop libraries? Well, of course, it then becomes a component that you can reuse over several projects. If you publish the library, it becomes reusable by other people in their projects. That's all good stuff. But the main advantage is that using libraries forces you to develop your code and your application in a very modular way. It forces you to encapsulate pieces of code into really self-contained units that are rather isolated with minimum dependencies to other systems. And this allows you to really test it and unit test it. And so it becomes a small component of very high quality. Okay, so why would you want to do that with Platform.io? Well, I think at this time, it's really one of the better software development environments. It has a very wide range of boards supported, supports many frameworks, of course, also the Arduino boards and the Arduino framework. There's a very good editor inside, Visual Studio Code, with all the features like folding, code completion, IntelliSense, it's all there. It has a really good integration with GitHub, so version control is also there. And you can still extend it with all kinds of extensions if you would want to do something more specific in your setup. So the first thing that you should set up when you develop any project or a library with Platform.io is automatic code formatting. Basically, it means that all your source code is automatically formatted according to some rules, and so it will all look uniform and easy to read. And remember that we write code once, but we read it many times, so readability is really a key thing to have. To do that is rather simple, so it requires you to add a C-lang format file at the root of your repository. It's a standard file that you can get from one of my repositories, put it in the root, and it contains all the formatting rules. There are online tools available where you can fine-tune or tweak such a file so that it really matches your personal preferences, in case you want a different formatting style than the one I have. So once you have this file in the root, it applies to all the source code which is below that. So that's basically your complete project. Now let's see how it works. I go to this source code file. Let's reuse some of the formatting by removing all of the tabs. And then I can use a shortcut code. In this case, it's Alt-Shift-F, which will nicely format it with the nice indents and the position of the curly braces, etc., etc. It's even possible to do it automatically before saving a file. To do that, you go to your project settings, search for format, And then you see there is a format on save setting, which will, if you have a C-lang format file available, automatically apply it before saving any source code file. So all of your source code will be properly formatted all of the time. That's very important. A second productivity tool is to have your Arduino libraries automatically validated during your development. And the way it works is by running a GitHub action that's made specially for that. It's called Arduino lint. So how do you do it? You create a subfolder .github/workflows, and you put in there this YAML file, as it's called. Basically, it controls how to run the GitHub action. It says every time on push or pull request, run this checkout and Arduino lint action. So we'll see it into action. Let's see what code changes I have. I have the formatting changes that I just made from the previous part of the demo. So let's stage them and commit them. So this is the matching repository on GitHub. And you see there is this section with actions. So I have here one workflow, which is just the Arduino library check. And you see it's running. You can get into the details of it. These are all the steps that are going to run. And it's all green, saying that everything was fine. When you have this in your repository, you can have a batch on your README file like this here, so that it shows that for this particular repository, the Arduino library checks are passing. Step 3 is to add examples to your libraries. Examples will show the potential user how to apply your library in a correct way in an application. So they're really helpful. It works very well with Platform.io. Basically, you include an examples folder in the root of your repository, and then a subfolder for each individual example. You can have many examples in a single library. So I did this, I have 3 examples here, and one is the single interval timer.ino. Note that there is a subfolder with the example name, and then there is the sketch with the example name and the .ino extension, exactly the way that the Arduino lint expects it. So here is this example. Now, for Platform.io to understand that it needs to pick up this piece of source code to build an application, we have to add one line to the .ini file, the project.ini file, which is source_dir is, and then the path to the example. Let's demonstrate it. I have here a Arduino Uno Mini, so let's upload and monitor and see what happens. It's linking, it's uploading. And then there is the output of our example, which is timer 1 started, timer 1 expired. Number 4 is to do static code checking on the code of your library and on your examples. Static code checking will run, for example, CPP check, which will test your code for a number of common made mistakes, forgetting to initialize a variable or declaring a variable that's never being used. This kind of things, the compiler will accept them, but they are not best practices, so it's good to get a warning of them. It's all built into Platform.io, so let's see how we can use it. It's very simple. We go to the Platform.io menu under the advanced section and we run check. It will start a terminal and launch the CPP check on your code, and it gives you a report of the result. Okay, there we are. So we passed the test. Still, there is a number of warnings here. You see where they are. They are in one of the example and in the source code file. And what it says is, for example, that the class single timer does not have a constructor, although it has private member variables. Maybe it's something you would want to fix before you publish your library. So, on to unit testing. To ensure the quality of your code, a really well-known and proven approach is to add unit tests to it. Unit tests are very small tests which test really small assumptions and pieces of the algorithm, and all the unit tests together, they are a proof that the whole library and the whole application is behaving as expected. It's possible to do unit testing built-in with Platform I/O, and it's very simple. You have a folder in the repository test, and under that folder there can be one or more test applications. So I've added one which is called test target single timer. Why is it called target? Because this time we have hardware dependencies and we are going to run the unit tests on the target, in this case my Arduino Uno Mini. So it really runs on a target. But in some cases, when you have pieces of code that are hardware independent, you can even run the unit tests on your PC or your development environment, so which is even faster, and it means you don't need any specific hardware connected to your computer. Here is an example of the unit test. It requires you to have this Unity include file, which is the test framework. In order to execute that, it's simple. We go to Platform I/O tasks in advanced and we say test. And it opens a terminal window. It will build the code, uploads the code. There we go. And it runs the test. And it has run all of the tests in this example here. So finally, let's take a look at native unit testing and automatic native unit testing. So I've switched to a different repository, which is a different library of mine, logging library. And this library does not have any hardware dependencies, which means it runs basically on any computer where it can be compiled. So the tests can also run locally on the desktop machine. And that's when you set up .ini, you set up a so-called native environment, then it's possible to run the test from there. Let's demonstrate that. So I go to my tasks, native test. It opens a terminal. It will compile the test application for the Windows PC, in my case here. And it will execute all the different tests. I have 3 test folders, so it will do 3 different test applications here, and then it will present a summary of all the tests together. Voila. The generic logging, log item, and log output, they have all passed like that. So that's nice because we don't need any specific hardware to do those unit tests. Now, going back to the repository, I have in my .github workflows, I have another YAML file, which is unit test generic.yaml. And this file allows to run those unit tests not on my desktop, but on a virtual test runner as a GitHub action. So it means every time we push something new to this library, GitHub will start a Ubuntu server, run the tests on there, and show the results on the repository. Let's demonstrate that. I will make a few small changes to the code. I commit it. I push it to GitHub. And let's switch to the repository. Let's go to the GitHub Actions. And you already see that now I have 2 checks workflows here. I have the Arduino library check, of course, which we had in one of the first steps. I also have the unit test generic or native, and they are both running in parallel. The Arduino library should be ready first because it only takes 20 seconds. And this one here is the unit tests running in GitHub. If you look into detail, we can see what steps are being taken. So it's basically starting up a server, installing Python, installing Platform IO, running the unit tests with all the results. And finally, we see a green check mark here, means that everything run fine. If it does not run fine, you will get an email notification from GitHub. So it's an easy way to be warned that something has gone wrong, has broken in your library.
Thank you, Pascal. See you later. So, as you know, coral is a precious resource from Honduras that needs to be preserved. José Luis Ordóñez Avilla is a professor at the Faculty of Engineering who developed a robot for monitoring coral reef, which is simplifying some challenges of underwater mechanical robot design. Let's hear more about that and keep writing your comments wherever they are.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in this Arduino Week 2022. My name is José Ordóñez, and I'm gonna be talking about the design of an underwater robot for coral reef monitoring in Honduras. Well, let's start with the introduction. Honduras is a country that has very beautiful coral reefs, but as climate change, these coral reefs have started their calcification. So this research aims to develop an underwater robot to monitor coral reefs using computer vision in different depths below sea level. So for this project, we use SolidWorks, we use Arduino, we use Proteus, we use Raspbian and Micro-C to develop a robot with a mechanical system and an electronical system. So let's see a little bit of the implementation. Well, we have a mechanical design, 3D printer, PG shell. We have some simulations about how the robot will submerge. We can see a little vortex here, but with a very low velocity, so it doesn't get destabilization. We also see the forces of moving the robot, 15.56 newtons for submerging and 13.92 for moving forward. So with these forces, we can calculate buoyancy force and how the robot will move. We also can see here the degrees of freedom of the robot that will have 3 degrees of freedom, 1 for moving forward and 2 for rotating and 3 for submerging. We also make some tests in an aquarium trying to detect fish movements. Now here we have the Arduino at Mega that was used as the master of the microcontrollers. It receives teleoperation information and the robot gets its position very near to the coral reef. Then we have I2C communication for the sensors, SD for information, and the thrusters are moved with PWM. Finally, this is the prototype final version. We can see a little bit of how it works. First, we get external communication. So we enter in the teleoperated mode. Then submerging, it goes to the time set. How much time will the robot submerge? Also, the robot has 2 internal sensors about the temperature because of vision system and leak because of water. And then if the robot is in max depth, it will enter in submersion mode, moving the thrusters so it can go very slowly down the water. And then when it's in mean depth, it will stop the submerging mode, getting in the floating mode, and the robot will move up. In all this time, we got the data addition about the temperature of the water. Finally, we have here some of the videos recorded from the robot in one of the tests we made here in Honduras. Well, finally, the conclusions. The robot used a teleoperation mode to move on the sea surface. The word communication is a simple way to teleoperate the robot. In short distance improvements could increase the communication distance. The robot mechanical design has accomplished its task. The control should be improved, adding a mathematical model for the robot displacement underwater. This to improve the stability. And we are working on that future works about performance in communication and coral reef recognition. This paper has been uploaded in the IEEE Explorer, so if you need more information, you can contact me or look for it in IEEE Explorer. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jose. See you later with the questions. And with the next video, Mosquito Edge, Smart IoT Solutions Combating Vector-Borne Diseases. This is the project Om Shastri, a high school student and researcher on EdgeML, and IoT developed. He will tell us about mosquito presence and absence points extracted from the National Ecological Observatory Network. Let's hear our last guest for this session before the Q&A. Keep writing questions, please.
Welcome to my presentation regarding Mosquito Edge, a smart IoT solution utilizing edge computing and machine learning to combat vector-borne diseases. My name is Om Shastri, and I'm a junior at Los Gatos High School in Los Gatos, California. I'm interested in edge computing and IoT solutions and species distribution modeling and conservation. I'm an avid roboticist and have been recognized internationally in robotics competitions, and I've been awarded a Congressional Silver Medal for my work in teaching the next generation in computing and critical thinking skills. I hope to further explore the fields of edge computing and machine learning in the future. My spark to start working on Mosquito Edge came when I learned some startling statistics regarding mosquitoes. Mosquitoes annually nearly infect 700 million people, cause over 1 million deaths, and cost billions of dollars to control, making them some of the world's most dangerous organisms. So alongside a group of fellow students, I set out to answer the question, how can we use climate and citizen science mosquito data to develop a machine learning model that can predict mosquito hotspots? And in the process, I created my project, Mosquito Edge. To answer this question, my team and I collected and processed data from the Globe Observatory Project, the National Ecological Observatory Network, and NOAA climate data extracted from the Stormglass API, which we then used to train our random forest model. Let's further analyze our approach. Our model is based off the fundamental ideas presented by Hutchinson's niche, which postulates that a mosquito's niche is defined solely by environmental variables. This also constitutes Hutchinson's hypervolume, where the rows are the presence and absence points of mosquitoes, as represented by globe and neon data, and columns are the climate variable vectors from the Stormglass API. We utilized a random forest model, an ensemble machine learning algorithm that utilizes decision trees. Because our output is determined via binary classification, the result is given as a number between 0 and 1, in which 0 implies a mosquito absence and 1 a presence. Throughout the process of creating the model, we use techniques such as class prediction based on the majority prediction for the ensemble, as well as 0 and 1 classification. A second technique we used to minimize Gini impurity, or the likelihood of an incorrect classification, and more importantly, develop a subset that was homogeneous towards the end node. We also looked at feature importance, minimizing the Gini impurity to calculate the specific climate variables that have the most influence at a given location. The confusion matrix and accuracy score of 86% that we obtained suggests a high model accuracy. In the feature important chart, we can see the temperature had the most of influence on the model output, and thus mosquito presence. This is also in accordance with the academic literature, another indication of accuracy. The next phase of the project included building and testing a device, which can collect data and output a threat level on the edge. First, we configured climate sensors to collect real-time data on a microcomputer. Second, we analyzed and formatted the data to work with a random forest model. Finally, with the collected data, we ran the model and outputted a threat level. Some of the benefits of our device include a lower latency, as everything is localized, the ability to function in areas with low to no connectivity, and a low device cost is especially useful in developing countries where mosquito-borne diseases are prevalent. Furthermore, we can stream the data when the device has cloud connectivity to the Arduino Cloud and Arduino IoT OPLA kit. The Arduino IoT OPLA kit can also be used as a display. The threat level, as well as climate data given to the users on the display, can give them real-time updates, potentially saving their lives. Some future plans my team and I have is to increase the accuracy of the model, adding more environmental features such as vegetation index and human population density. Lastly, future research could identify disparities in mosquito-borne diseases distribution in low-income communities. With our device and model, we could potentially predict future outbreaks, preserve ecosystems, and save countless lives. Thank you for listening.
And we are up with another Q&A session. Welcome, Pascal and Om. Unfortunately, Jose couldn't be with us today, so we will not answer his questions, the questions for him, but we will answer those for Om and Pascal. We don't have much time, so let's try and rush a little bit. So, question for Pascal. Welcome, guys. Are businesses more likely to want to keep their libraries proprietary? Is there a good business reason to open them up and share them?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, maybe businesses want not to give away all of their intellectual property, but in fact, a library is just a very small component. So it's very useful to make those open. You will also get some feedback from the community. And if everyone opens components, it also means that they are available from other businesses to you. So I strongly believe in that. With ToolSquare, we open up most of our components libraries in the public domain. Only the application that we build with it, we keep it private.
Thank you. And another quick question for you, Pascal. What's a good platform, language, or format to learn that's future-proof as much as possible? Of course.
Yeah. Well, I think if you have to start really from no existing programming knowledge, then the Arduino IDE is the best platform to start because it's really simple and it has a limited learning curve. And you can really get some quick results with that, and that will encourage you to go on. Then there's still lots of time after that to turn to more professional platforms, depending on your needs. But I think as a starter, the Arduino IDE is the best platform.
Thank you. Question for Om. How do you think a system like this could have helped with something like COVID? For example, could it track humans just like it does mosquitoes?
That's a great question. For COVID, the one issue with COVID would be that instead of mosquitoes as being the carriers or hosts for the diseases, humans, unlike mosquitoes, don't correlate as much as mosquitoes do with climate variables such as temperature, climate. They tend to correlate more towards cities. So it definitely could be done, but you would need to change up the features that you use or variables. You would probably need to use human population index and also how humans migrate towards certain points, which is another problem you'd have to solve. But it certainly can be done, and I think there's a lot of studies trying to do this right now.
Great, thank you. And we have another for Om. Is the processing for a project like this done on the edge, or does it need to be centralized?
So our project is done on the edge, as we try to use a low compute machine learning model. But definitely if you added more climate variables or data into the machine learning model, the runtime might be too large to be done on the edge, and then you'd need to centralize it.
Okay, thank you. So our time for the Q&A is over, but if you want to add anything, please, you're welcome.
No, thank you for inviting us, and
Thank
have a great continuation of the Arduino week.
Same here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. It's been wonderful.
Thanks a lot and hope to see you soon. Bye. So now we are going to see a demo on how to use Arduino Ide 2.0 with our colleague Ide.
Hello everyone, I'm Ide. I'm a creative tech lead at Arduino and product owner of some of the tools you use on a daily basis to develop your Arduino projects, including the incredibly popular Arduino Ide. As you may know, over the past couple of years, we have put a lot of effort into delivering a new Ide experience for beginners as well as advanced users. We initially started with an alpha version of something that we put together in a relatively short time. And as features were added, removed and revisited, we finally landed on naming this product Arduino Ide 2.0. We wanted to bring a modern Ide experience which felt familiar to existing users, as well as bringing something new to the table. Before the end of last year, we released an RC, which stands for Release Candidate, removing the beta label from our product, and many of you have downloaded it. We're extremely thankful for this. This means that as we move forward with development, we're getting closer and closer to a final release that will get into your hands and will be immediately available as download from the Arduino download page. We're taking the right amount of time to get there, as we keep receiving feedback from the community, which often carries more work, as you may understand, but it's incredibly satisfying to us. It tells us that people want to use the product that we work on every day. Today I want to give you a quick demonstration of how it works and invite you to give it a try and see if it fulfills your needs. A few weeks ago, we released RC4, which brought a system of automatic updates into the application, so that you can be notified when a new version is available, whether it is a major version or just a bug fix. Sometimes we find bugs, thanks to the community, just a couple of days after we release, and we are able to quickly turn around and release fixes. You get an alert into the application, and then you can just click update and the application will do everything inside. So let's look at Arduino Ide 2.0. The look and feel is pretty much the same. It's familiar for users of the previous IDE, and it feels a little closer to modern IDEs for new users who are more advanced, for instance, professional users or advanced users in general, people who are used maybe to VS Code. We have customized this IDE heavily in order to make it more familiar to the users of previous versions. You can see I have a project here, and the first thing that I want to show you is that when you have a project that is split in several tabs, sometimes you want to know where the code is, right? I have this animated light sketch that basically, it's something that I made for a Christmas tree a few years back. This thing, has several utilities like generating a random number or reacting to a button being pushed. And it has some looped animations for LED breathing or blinking or shimmering. So when I have my code here and I want to, for instance, generate a random number, I can make use of the language server facility, which basically helps me navigate through code as well as suggesting code that I want to add into my sketch. So let's say that I need a random number between 0 and 99. I can just say my number is equal to get random. I can invoke the language server, and the functionality to generate a random number will be offered to me. And here it is, get random modulo, and my modulo will be 99 because the number that I want is a random number. And then I can say new random number is equal to get random, and now it's going to search through my code and offer a solution, so a suggestion to what I want to get in writing. And let's say that I want a number between 0 and 11. So here it is. So what if I want to know what's in this function? If I hover the keyword, so for instance, if I hover int, it doesn't say much. My number is a variable that I have defined here. I have these popovers, and then I can hover on this one, and it can basically tell me a few things about this function. So get random returns an integer, and it accepts an integer. So if I invoke with the command key, I can basically navigate through my function. So let's look at this thing again. I have some cases. This loop breathe animation, I can jump into the function, and then I can go, and see all the stuff that I need about the variable. The language server is something that we have been working on actively for over a year now, and it's getting better and better. One more interesting feature of Arduino Ide 2.0 is that we have a sketchbook view, which allows us to basically see everything that is in our sketchbook, and we can customize it. So for instance, we can show the files inside the sketches, and here are all my, all the files that I need. So my tabs are displayed here, and I can also have access to the Arduino IoT Cloud sketchbook, so all my sketches which are in the cloud. I will need to sign in for this one to work. I can essentially just sign in, and once it's done, the sketchbook in the Arduino Ide is going to show me what I have. So for instance, I have a sketch that I've been using with Arduino IoT Cloud, and I can just launch it and work on it. So all the changes that I make on my sketch offline, which is basically on the server, can be reflected onto Arduino IoT Cloud sketches that I have stored in my web IDE. And here are all my sketches and all my tabs and everything that I need to make my sketch work. This remote sketchbook is still being actively worked on, but many of us inside Arduino use it for our Arduino IoT Cloud sketches. You should give it a try and let us know if you like this functionality. Having sketches in the cloud allows you to work on different computers and work on your IoT Cloud sketches or web-based sketches on the go as you travel. Another functionality which we have been showcasing in the past is the debugger. Debugger is still in the experimental phase. It supports a couple of adapters such as microchip, Atmel ICE. It supports Segger J-Link via some customization, and it targets all ARM-based architectures. I'm going to let you in on a secret. We are reworking the debugging functionality to make it more Arduino-like and actually easy to use for advanced users, but also as a gateway into learning how to debug your microcontroller applications using a friendly Arduino workflow. More on this in the near future. At Arduino, we sometimes take a little longer than expected to deliver a feature or a product, but we try as much as possible to share our development with the community, which made us known all over the world. We'll keep trying, breaking, failing, and retrying until we get what we like and what you want to use. That is our final goal. My team makes me very proud every day, and we truly believe in what we do here at Arduino. Keep following development, download the Ide 2.0, and let us know what you think. If you start using it today, you might see a fast pace of updates which will culminate in the final product we're all looking forward to using. Thank you for your time and your attention. The Arduino tooling team is very excited about you using our new Ide 2.0. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ubi. This was very, very interesting. So we are going to have a half an hour break now, but stay tuned as we are back for the second and final session at 5 p.m. CET with our co-founders, Massimo and David. I hope I didn't do a mess. I've been told I'm speaking too fast, but hopefully you got it all. So thank you and see you later. Bye.
And we're back. This is the last segment of the whole Arduino week. And what better way to kick off this session than introducing and inviting my amazing co-founder, David Quartielles, who is going to talk about a very interesting project. David!
Hello. Welcome to
my
living room.
Hey, good to see you. You know, this morning I went to Ivrea and I saw the place where you tell everyone that I kept you for 3 weeks in the cold in a cellar to work. The building is still there.
Do you take a picture of the the stain that I left there when I was freezing?
No, but we will put a metal plate there with the mayor that says, in this room, in this place, David Quartielles was for 3 weeks in the basement, but then he invented Arduino with his friends. No?
Okay.
Anyway, apart from the jokes, I'm glad to see you, and you have an important project to discuss. So I will leave the stage to you, and I'll let you talk.
Yeah, thank you. So, hey everybody. As you know, I'm one of the co-founders of Arduino, together with Massimo, Dave, and Tom. But I'm also quite engaged in academia, where I have the honorable record of taking 15 years to pursue a PhD because Arduino happened, then it stopped my whole process. Anyway, we're very glad because we are going to make an announcement of the first, let's say, academic journal we are co-authoring, or we are editing, to be precise. But I prepared a couple of slides just to introduce the concept and invite anyone that is interested within our outside academia to produce a paper for this journal. So let me just share my screen. Here we go. Here we go. So yeah, here you see my slides. I prepared just a couple of slides just to support what I want to say. It's nothing really big, but basically, as you know, Arduino has been mentioned in quite a few academic papers over the years. Arduino has been around for 17 years now. We're about to reach the age when Arduino will be allowed to go out with his friends without daddy supporting him, which is great. And then in the world of academia, it has quite a good record. You look, for example, at the ACM, which is one of the most relevant databases on papers for interaction designers, which is the field where Massimo and myself work with as academics. There is over 5,700 papers that have the word Arduino in the title or the abstract. And this means that there's a lot of papers that have been quoting or citing projects made with Arduino boards, which is quite relevant. On the other hand, if we took a look at the IEEE, which is where engineers go when they want to talk to other engineers. We find that there is about 6,000 papers as well in journals, conferences, magazines, and there is, of course, a lot of books. And there are reports as recent as this month, actually. So there is a lot of, or it's a huge body of work made in academia around this. But what happens with many of these papers is that Arduino shows up as an instrument that has been used to produce something, and then the case is depicting typically more or less what is the experience of using Arduino, or Arduino is maybe a piece of a larger scientific instrument that is being used to measure or calculate something. But it's not always visible how this work was done. And for us, as part of the open source community, it's very important to show how things are done so that others can also replicate them and benefit from this collectively generated knowledge, which is open source hardware and open source software. So we're really, really glad to announce that at some point, Hardware X, which is yet another journal that also has a lot of publications with the word Arduino in it, even though it's a really young journal, it's been around only for 3 years. If you search, or sorry, not 3 years, I have for a little bit more, but I mean, this search is only for 3 years. It also has a lot of projects that are citing Arduino, but Hardware X has a peculiarity, and it's a journal that is looking at papers or contributions where the explanation of the actual instrument is being made. So the idea of Hardware X is to share how instruments are made, and it's not so much about explaining the case, but it's much more about explaining the tool. And for us, this is very important because it will allow many people to benefit from the knowledge that the academic community has been creating over the years. And it also gives an opportunity for those of you that are, let's say, developing an expertise in creating tools, also getting published, which is typically not that easy. So we're going to be co-editing this journal. It's multidisciplinary, it's open access. It means whatever you publish is going to be open. And as I would say, many open access journals, they require a fee from the authors to publish. In this special issue of the journal, no authors will have to pay anything. This is part of the agreement that Arduino has made with Hardware X. And I'm really, really thankful to Hardware X, the journal main editors, for allowing us to do this. So in order to be as inclusive as possible and allow us to be as diverse as possible by bringing people from anywhere working with Arduino boards, if you're working in a scientific instrument or any kind of experiment that could be applied to science that includes Arduino boards, you are more than welcome to submit your invention to this paper, or to this journal, sorry. So the special issue is called Special Issue on Open Source Machinery and Laboratory Instruments Using the Arduino Software and Hardware Ecosystem. For short, it's going to be called Arduino Science Hardware. So that will be the way to find it in the future. And this is the official call. And down here, you can see the link where you can find all of this information. I'm cited as the guest editor, representing both Arduino and Malmo University, where I also work sometimes. And the idea is that we're welcoming any kind of contribution that is using any part of the Arduino ecosystem. So it doesn't need to be an Arduino board. It could be that using, for example, the Arduino CLI in an interesting way to make scientific experiments using your own made board. Or could be that you're using the Arduino Cloud to document information you're using. So in a traditional scientific peer-reviewed methodology, your papers will be submitted. We'll make a first filtering, and then they will be sent to peer reviewers who will analyze the papers and give us some feedback on whether they should be admitted or not based on quality. And after that, we'll make a final revision. There is no maximum amount of papers we're going to get. So we could publish 100 papers if there is 100 good papers. So we're welcoming all of you to read the information about this and submit it. So Of course, we are very interested in very novel techniques as well. So if you're working with edge computing, which means you're using TinyML or the IEFS library from the Fraunhofer Institute to do artificial intelligence that learns directly on the boards, then you're more than welcome to submit, because we are really looking forward to see some of these more contemporary contributions that can help other people to also replicate experiments. The important thing is that we open the time now for submissions, and it's going to be open until July. So between now and July, we're welcoming papers for the special issue. We'll be reviewing them until after the summer, and before the end of the year, everything will be published. So if you make a bit of work now, before the end of 2021, you can have a paper published, reviewed by us and by the community, the academic community that's interested in open hardware, and get it published for free, by the way. So yeah, there you see the link, but I also made a slide with the link because it's a really long link. But if you just search for Hardware X in a single word with X at the end and Arduino Journal, you will find the paper very quickly and the place where to submit. So that's it. That was the announcement I had to make. Thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to see your contributions and to see your papers coming in, and to have a chance to read through them and bring the best to share with the others. Thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you, David. I think it's a very interesting project. Actually, over the years, we've seen a lot of people building instruments, even some important, cheap and very powerful version of expensive equipment with Arduino. So there's going to be probably a lot of people sending projects.
Yeah, this is exactly the point. There is, we welcome, for example, also people that are upcycling old instruments and adding Arduino boards to digitize their outputs. Let's say you have an old oscilloscope that works with a serial port connection, and suddenly you send it to the cloud, for example. So any kind of these scientific tricks, I don't know, I know some guys in Granada, for example, that have hacked their old electronic microscopes are now controlled by Arduino boards. So that when they need to fine tune exactly where they want to look into, they have their own self-made interface with an LCD and so on. So there is a lot of these instruments in the labs that can be saved from being thrown away and being reused. So that's also an opportunity for those of you that are hacking instruments and are giving them a new life to submit to this journal.
Well, that sounds like also a great idea for projects to submit. So thank you very much, David. Really love this project. And so we'll let you go back to your Saturday afternoon, but thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah.
And I'll see you soon.
So much.
All right. So now we have the last community project of this whole Arduino week. We have a team from the Orientation Center for Research and Development, where Hamed, Farah, and Tuka will tell us more about their project about sustainability of clean energy using Arduino bots. So we're going to see their short video, and then the team is going to come up on the streaming so that we can chat with them. So first, the video.
In Sudan, people suffer from shortage amount of electricity generation, and 35% of the population has access to supplying energy. Hello, my name is Ahmed Ayman Al-Khabir and I am 12 years old.
Hello, my name is Farah Al-Hassan and I'm 12 years old. Our project name is Sustainability of Clean Energy Using Robots.
Also, Sudan is known as one of the best countries of using solar power. Even though solar energy is established as part of supplying energy, it's still inefficient to be applied to your daily life.
Solar panels have proved to be a better source of energy. Stealing solar panels causes huge financial losses. Unfortunately, solar prices are variable, and the more unprincipled our society is, the more they're going to realize it that faster. Around the world, there has been a marked increase of solar panels theft. People have been losing up to tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment in the one incident, and we think that our project is going to reduce the stealing of solar panels around the world. The German Solar Society estimated that it cost them more than 10 million euros, so how about the entire world?
We think that our solution may decrease one of the most challenges that come with more renewable resources. Theft on solar farms are on rise due to the increasing number of solar farms. We made our robot to prevent theft by guiding and giving the responsible person updates about the current situation in the solar farm. We developed a smart gate to control the access in solar farms and a robot to detect the theft.
By integrating these two systems, we can save a lot of money for investors. Based on the foregoing, solving the problem of solar panel theft will encourage investments and investors in this field, which helps sustain clean energy in the world, which will retain positively in the whole world.
Hi, my name is Tuqa Ahmed. I'm 12 and I study at grade 7.
Today, I'm going to talk about the methodology and how our robot works. We built a gate and a robot. In the gate, a person first comes and stands in a certain place. The eye sensor scans the person. Then the person uses her tag and swipes it through the reader. The reader then identifies if the person is a social worker, a maintenance worker, or a person that works in the solar farm. That's all for the gate. Then in the robot, first we have a weather station, the DHT. The weather it helps to predict the weather for the upcoming season, and it also sends weather update every 2 seconds. Then we have the PIR. It scans the area for people. So if a person breaks in the farm, it sends a message in the control room, and then the control room person knows that there's someone broken. We also have the ultrasonic. It is used for obstacle avoidance. So if there's an obstacle in front of the robot, it can go past.
So this is our robot, which is made up by an ultrasonic sensor for obstacle avoidance and the PIR sensor for motion detection. And we also use the DHT sensor for humidity and temperature. And we also use Bluetooth for sending messages to the security room. So this is our gate, which is made up by an IR sensor and an RFID sensor. And we also used a servo for opening and closing the door.
We used a 2DC motor, an ultrasonic sensor, a PIR, and a Bluetooth, a DHT, a 2-wheel drive, and an Arduino C.
So we believe our SecureBot FSF will definitely reduce stealing solar panels from solar farms.
We wish Arduino a very bright future.
Hey, hi guys, welcome to Arduino Week. Can you hear me? Hey, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, we wanted to say hi to you in person because we only showed a video during the week, but we couldn't talk to you, so we wanted you to be able to say hi to the Arduino community, and we wanted to say hi to you and thank you for the project. It's really great. The video was really well made. You're great presenters. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So, but where are you based? Where in the world are you?
Sudan. We're in Sudan.
Sudan? Oh, wow. That's very cool. So do you want to say something to the worldwide Arduino community? Would you want to say hi or something?
Hi.
That's very good. That's very good. All right. So, if you want to, if there's anything else you want to say to the community, please do. But we just wanted people to be able to see you live and be able to say hi to you live. And we thank you for wishing Arduino a bright future. I think you will have a bright future. You're great. You're great people. You'll do great projects. So I'm very happy that you sent us your project.
Okay, so hi, my name is Ahmed Al-Khalif, and I'm 12 years old. In Sudan, people suffer from shortage amounts of electricity generation, and 35% of the population has access to energy supply.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, so I think, we wanted you to be able to say hi to people. So thank you for taking the time to come to the show. And a number of people are saying hi to you from the chat. There's one guy in Italy that says, you guys are the future. And I think it's true. Well, thank you very much. Please make more projects with Arduino and send us your project, okay? We wish you all the best, and we let you go back to your Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon. Okay?
Our solution for this project was that we developed a smart gate to control the access in the solar farms. We developed a robot to protect the solar farm from the detect and theft. By integrating these two systems, we can save a lot of money for the investors.
That's a great project. All right, so we have to move on to the other part of the project because we have a few more things that we need to talk about. But these kids are great. They're doing a very interesting project. Also, the enthusiasm in the way they were presenting, it was just great. So I'm very happy that they took the chance to contribute to Arduino Week. So now there's another short segment. It is something that we have been working for a while, and it's a sneak preview of something that we are working on with a very important brand. And it's a project that will then require the contribution of people from the Arduino community. But I have a couple of slides just to help me support what I'm going to be talking about. And so it all started with the Nikola Sense ME. So a few months ago, we launched this board, which I think it's amazing. It is packed with incredibly high quality Bosch SensorTech sensors, including a crazy sensor that can detect all kinds of different gases, and you'll see there's accelerometer gyroscopes that can run artificial intelligence algorithm right in the sensor. So it's a very sophisticated platform, but it's only 22 by 23 millimeter, and it contains an ARM Cortex M4 microcontroller with a Bluetooth interface. So you have all these sensors and you have this connectivity. You can run it on a battery. It's very efficient. So we were like, this is an interesting piece of technology. So we started to think, what happens if you start to use this technology on you? What happens if you carry around this technical capability on you? And considering that this is an Arduino technology, it's going to be programmable. It's going to be something that you can hack. It's going to be very well documented. So the idea is we wanted to figure out how to take this technology into a format that you could carry with you all day and experiment what happens if you have that technology. So in the end, we collaborated with this global brand, which is actually the headquarters are here in Torino, Italy, but it is a brand that originated in France. They are very, very famous, iconic. You can see this is a little cut and paste of some of the classic elements of the Keyway brand. So one of the most famous product they have is this raincoat that you can package up into a little bag that you can carry, and it's got this, beautiful and very iconic zipper and rubber band. So we were talking to them, and we thought, hey, we should try to work together on this. And we thought about, okay, let's collaborate, and let's put one of these Arduino Nikola Sense ME into a container that you can replace the zipper for the jacket, and then you can program it. So we started to experiment with different concepts, and so there will be a first phase of the project where we're going to send out a few of these jackets with a software that we wrote, which is going to be about the sustainability, air pollution, and I'm not going to reveal too many details because there's going to be a specific new part of the project about this. But then we had also another realization that this technology that we have in this little board, it's very powerful, but there's also this other feature that the hardware, the processor that we have on the board is capable to run certain types of machine learning algorithms, specifically the kind of things that people call right now tiny machine learning. So one of the things we said, okay, we work with a bunch of people that make TinyML tools. Why don't we work together with some of these, so we decided to work with this company called Edge Impulse, that we have several collaboration with, that creates these tools that make it a lot simpler for anyone to try to design and build machine learning algorithms for microcontrollers with tools that are mostly visual. They are mostly happening in the browser. So they take out a lot of the complexity of trying to do that locally on your computer. So the general idea is we're going to kick off this project by preparing a few of these jackets and share it with a few people. But then we have a call for projects where you can propose projects that are based on tiny machine learning with the Edge Impulse technology, Arduino hardware, and integrating in the rich heritage and iconic design of the Keyway jacket. I mean, I'm not gonna say too much, but for me, Keyway is actually quite iconic. When I was a child, I had this blue raincoat made by Keyway, and it was one of the things that I have with me all the time. So it is iconic, and it has a strong heritage behind, but it's also a very innovative platform. So that's why we wanted to work together to try to imagine what happens if you have this technology integrated in the garment and experiment. So enough of these introductions. It's, as I said, it's your turn, pitch a project, and a number of people that will pitch a project that we accept will receive one of these jackets with the technology on it, and they will be able to develop the project. So I'm not going to take too much longer to talk about this project, but if you go to sites.arduino.cc/key-way, or you just use your phone to scan this QR code that our efficient colleague Alice prepared, you can actually go to the website, and there is a first kind of overview of the project. Keep an eye on that URL, because more information will be published on that website as we work on the project and also on our social media. But it is, to me, a very interesting occasion to really work on a project that put tiny machine learning in practice, in work, on something that you carry and you wear every day. So thank you very much. And, I hope that a lot of you will send us some projects, and we will keep you up to date. So now we are going to take probably like 30 seconds break, because I have another guest that needs to show up on stage with me. And then after this short break, we will announce the winners of the Arduino Cloud Games. And we also have interviews with the winners. So let's break for 30 seconds while my guest joins me on stage. Thank you. And we're back. So thank you for waiting. I have a special guest with me here, Fabio Violante, who is also the CEO of Arduino. Welcome.
Hi, Massimo. Hello to everybody online.
I have a special guest because it's a special moment. We are announcing the winner of a competition that's been going on for quite a long time. And this Arduino Cloud Games was this idea of having some kind of Olympics where people propose different projects and they kind of go through several stages, and then you have a winner with the classic bronze, silver, gold, medals, let's call it like this. So the project was based on the idea of using the Arduino IoT Cloud, and if you haven't used the Arduino IoT Cloud yet, you should stop everything and go to cloud.arduino.cc, and then you will have your, brain will explode because it's an amazing And also, apart, this is completely unscripted, but Fabio is the CEO, is an actual user of the cloud, and he has the whole apartment wired up with the cloud.
Absolutely, I have tons of projects. So I think I have 10 or 11 Arduino that are doing crazy things in the house.
So what is the last dashboard that you show me?
Yeah, the one was for power management. So it's incredible how expensive became the energy right now. So I started keeping an eye also on the way we keep the lights on. And we are planning to remove every single piece of wasted energy in the house. So I started from metering, at least getting to know what we're consuming.
So you're using some special power meter that send out some kind of signal?
It's a fairly simple. So for the projects that we have seen this week, I think this is very basic project because it's an Arduino Wi-Fi 1010 with the RS485 shield, and it's hooked to a meter that is RS485 meter from a friend of us from Finder.
From Finder, an Italian company that makes a pretty amazing projects.
Yeah.
And but I think one of the interesting things is that to create a dashboard that indicates the electrical consumption of several parts of Fabio's apartment, the number of lines of code you have to write
I think it was like 10 lines of code.
It was 10 lines of code, which I think it's one of the things that we have been very obsessed about in Arduino. Allow people to build connected projects with 10 lines of code that you can control from anywhere in the world. So Arduino IoT Cloud was the topic of this competition. And to make life simple for people, we used this Arduino Opla IoT kit, which is also beautiful device with a touch interface, LCD screen, a bunch of sensor, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, rechargeable battery option. So it's got a lot of interesting features. So we actually had people send us proposals, and we sent a number of these the Opla kits to a bunch of people for them to actually complete and finish the project. We had over 500 submissions.
Wow.
So yes, over 500 people sent a proposal, and then we selected 100 of them, and we sent them one of the kits. So we sent out 100 kits, and all the projects that came out of this process, we selected 3 projects that now we're going to read just some information about the project. Consider that, I also want to maybe take a second to talk about our colleague Spanner Spencer, who spent a lot of time interacting with the community. It was an incredibly busy Discord channel. Our colleague Anna Vigano was in charge of the whole project, so she did also a lot of work. But managing the whole interaction with the community was like a big endeavor. And Spanner is there kind of answering to your messages right now on the chat. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Spanner. We will have a slice of cake in your honor after this.
In your honor. Yeah, because Spanner is in the UK.
He's currently in the UK. So for him, it's 4:37 in the afternoon.
So I think we have to ship him a cake, like a Novecento cake.
Yes, we have to send him a cake from Ivrea. But anyway, so the quality of the projects was outstanding. It was very difficult to choose 3 winners, and so we just had to. So we have 40 projects that you can find on Arduino Project Hub. So you search for Arduino Project Hub, you will find this website where there are literally thousands of tutorials and projects that you can build. These projects have a specific Arduino specific tag, but you can search for this project. I'll give you the tag in a second. And there are 40 projects that are completely finished, done, explained, documented that you can build. Of all this big selection, we selected 3 projects. So the Bronze Award, $250 in Arduino vouchers, goes to
Altu Bacan and he made a Opla Spotify controller.
Yeah, this was like, all the projects are amazing, but imagine this thing as it's an Opla kit that on one hand connects to the Spotify API and then gives you an interface on the device itself on the LCD screen, but also there is a dashboard that you can control from the cloud that controls your Spotify account. It's a very interesting use of the technology. It's a very intelligent solution. There's also, this interaction with the Spotify API. It's not exactly simple. So also this, the idea is that if you can control Spotify like that, it means that you can literally control anything.
Yeah,
So,
I think Massimo, what is interesting about this kind of project, for example, is the fact that with we try to stay away from touch display, and we went back to the basics and say what are the basics of the interaction.
Yeah.
So by making a little bit of restrictions, sometimes people become more creative.
Oh,
and so it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's exactly a very good point. One of the things that people use Arduino for a lot of times is to actually create some kind of a specialized and tangible interface for things.
Yeah.
Because touch screens are great, but you're incredibly generic and you have to kind of shuffle through application. But if you have a little button that you can interact with,
it's nicer.
It gives you a feeling, no? Also because, back in the days, you used to have like the stereo, so the music had their own devices, and now it's kind of so good job, Al2. After the announcement of all the winners, there will be a short interview with Al2 made by our own spanner. So let's go to the silver award, $500 in Arduino store voucher, and the winner is?
Pierluigi Lorenzi.
And the project is?
The project is Smart Fitting Room. So it's quite.
It's a great project. Great project. If you think about it, every time you go to a store and you want to try some clothes on, sometimes you don't have the right size. Sometimes you need to communicate. So what are you going to do? You're going to leave the changing room in your underwear? No. So you have to. So the idea that you have a device inside the changing room that allows you to communicate with the staff, or maybe even ask for a different size of a certain piece of garment or something, it's very, very smart idea. It's also nice to see Arduino creating a device that fits into a commercial application. So this, one of the comments that we wrote down for this project is that it shows that small business owners using Arduino, Opla, Arduino Cloud, they can actually build devices that enhance the value of their customer experience
at the store. Yes, absolutely. And I think this is interesting because it's a bidirectional communication. So it's quite interesting because you could put also like just a button, but in this case you can interact and provide more information without having a camera because it may be inconvenient.
Yes, I think the value is a very interesting device. No cameras, which you never want a camera in
the fitting room.
In a fitting room. All right, so now, drum roll. Where's the drum roll? Where's the Okay, so the last and final winner, Gold Award, $1,000 in Arduino vouchers. And the winner is?
Flavio Ceresi, and the project is Bakerino.
So this is again, a very interesting project because it's got to do with food. So it's an oven-like device called the leavening chamber that lets you control temperature and humidity in order to help dough and pastry raise properly. And one of the comments that we wrote down is that it's a quintessential Arduino project. Now, not a replacement or DIY version of a commercial product, but a clever and functioning device. Something that, it's one of those nice maker projects that one day could even become like a real product. We've seen a number of examples in the Arduino community of people who, for example, when sous vide cooking became very popular, people started to build devices with Arduino to do that, and some of them became actual companies selling products. So I think congratulations, Flavio, you're winning $1,000 in Arduino.
Wow. So Massimo, do you know if Ubi knows about this project? Because
yes, that's a very good reference, because the guy who just made the presentation about the IDE, Ubi De Feo, one of the things he's famous for, apart from his cat Emilio, is also that he bakes a lot. Cookies, focaccias, pizzas, and everything.
It's the encyclopedia of bakery.
Exactly. So Ubi, you need the Beccherino. Get in touch with Flavio and build one of these. So now, for the benefit of the viewers, we actually interviewed the winners, and you will be able to watch this interview in sequence. And then after the interviews, we will come back to basically say goodbye to you. So let's show the interviews, and we'll see you just in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Hi, so joining me now is Altuğ Bakan from Turkey, who came in third place in the Arduino Cloud Games with his Spotify controller. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking part in the Cloud Games as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me in the Cloud Games.
Yeah, it's been
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
But at first I was aiming for a general controller project, but then I decided that it would be easier and simpler for users to use a general Spotify controller, which you can use with your PC or your mobile phone, or well, wherever you are playing the music from.
What sort of how difficult was it then connecting an Arduino device and Spotify? Because it's very smooth. I've tested this myself. It's a very smooth system.
Yeah, it was quite difficult at first because, well, our Arduino has a limited amount of RAM, as you know, and Spotify actually sends a huge JSON message. But using the Arduino JSON library, we could just take wherever the parts of the response we want. So that was from that we get which song are you playing, who's the artist, and at what second you are currently at, and so on. Actually, sending the requests to increase the volume, skip the music, play and pause was quite simple. The hardest part for me was getting the authentication flow using the developers API, because you needed a server to communicate with the Spotify developers API. And here actually Arduino first acts as a server that authorizes you with the Spotify developers API, then it just sends API requests after you have given it any permissions that are needed.
I remember you posted about that on the Discord channel. And I thought at the time this is almost kind of two projects in one, because as you say, you built that web server. Is it web server? And then you use that to actually create the Spotify project, all on one device, all on the OPLA.
Yeah, I was aiming for a project that just required the kit, because I mean, there are, I think, some kind of magic that you can get a kit and get just build a project with it without requiring additional stuff. And well, the additional thing I have here is the battery, but it just works wirelessly too. I mean, you can just put it somewhere and press the buttons and use it however you'd like.
So you made a remote Spotify controller.
Yeah, it's remote, and you can also check the statistics from the Arduino Cloud.
So have you got any plans for the next project that you're going to work on?
Next project, I think I will continue with not this one, but the new Arduino Pro series, maybe for machine learning.
Yeah, that would be cool. Did you see the broadcast yesterday, the live stream yesterday?
Yeah, I
The
couldn't.
Potenter X8 just came out.
Yeah, the port.
Oh, it was just announced. I don't think it's not available yet, but it was just announced.
Oh, okay. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Is machine learning something that you've got some experience with then?
Yeah, I'm currently doing my master's on computer vision, so I thought maybe using some low power embedded sensors and Arduino would help people.
The Nicola vision is very cool.
Yeah,
if you've looked at the vision.
that too. Yeah, it's tiny. It's very nice. Yeah, it's so accessible too.
Right.
Yeah, we could use it somewhere in our industry, definitely.
Yeah, good stuff. Excellent. Well, thanks very much for taking part in the Cloud Games and for joining us for Arduino Week. It's been really nice to talk to you, and congratulations. Great project.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Altu.
Thank you.
Eccoci, buongiorno. Io sono Anna, sono marketing manager di Arduino e oggi siamo qui con Pierluigi Lorenzi. Ciao Pierluigi.
Ciao a tutti.
E vi presento Pierluigi, che è il secondo classificato di Arduino Cloud Games. Come sapete, qualche tempo fa abbiamo lanciato questa challenge che è stata accolta benissimo dalla nostra community. E finalmente oggi presentiamo quelli che sono i vincitori. Ci tengo in realtà a ringraziare tutti i partecipanti perché i progetti sono stati veramente tanto belli e sappiamo anche quanto effort c'è dietro. Pierluigi, come ci si sente a classificarsi secondo ad Arduino Cloud Games?
Guarda, sicuramente una sorpresa. È stata una sorpresa perché non me l'aspettavo, in quanto mi sono sentito un po' il nonno degli Arduino Games per l'età che ho e rispetto ai tantissimi progetti veramente interessanti che ho visto, tantissime idee fantastiche, quindi è stata veramente una sorpresa incredibile la vostra notizia di essere il secondo classificato, anche perché appunto è un'iniziativa per me anche nuova rispetto ai challenge a cui avevo partecipato in passato, quindi assolutamente una cosa fantastica.
Bene, mi fa piacere. Senti, hai voglia di raccontarci un po' il tuo progetto? Io nel frattempo lo faccio vedere da Project Hub, ma se ce lo racconti, visto che ti abbiamo qui, ci fa piacere.
Assolutamente sì. Il progetto è veramente, diciamo così, un'idea ottenuta così, con un lampo di genio, se vogliamo, o perlomeno con un'iniziativa estemporanea appena ho visto questo oggetto. Nel senso che per il mio lavoro, io mi occupo di energia, di efficienza energetica, conosco molto bene gli impianti e i sistemi dei centri commerciali e dei negozi, in particolare quelli dei negozi d'abbigliamento. E una cosa che ho sempre notato è il grandissimo spreco di energia nei camerini di vestizione. Quindi non so se avete mai notato, o è capitato anche a voi, camerini accesi, riscaldamento acceso, anche se non c'è nessuno. In più, un'altra cosa che ho notato è che se siete nel mezzo di un test, di una prova di un capo d'abbigliamento e avete bisogno di aiuto, di un'assistenza dello staff, non avete modo di chiamarlo, quindi assolutamente dovete rivestirvi e uscire, andare a cercare magari un'altra taglia da soli. Questo oggetto per me è stato veramente illuminante, in quanto io ho pensato a un display, ha già dei relay a bordo, ha già delle funzioni di audio e informazioni all'utente, potrebbe essere perfetto per posizionarlo in ogni camerino di prova, e quindi il cliente che ha bisogno di assistenza spinge un pulsante e automaticamente gli viene notificata una risposta del personale, oppure fisicamente arriva il personale a fornirgli magari un'altra taglia o qualsiasi altra iniziativa. Quindi l'idea che mi è venuta è proprio coprire un'esigenza che avevo visto mancava assolutamente nei negozi d'abbigliamento. Il tutto con il secondo vantaggio, non meno importante, di un'efficienza energetica, perché il sistema automaticamente rileva la presenza di qualcuno nel camerino di prova e accende l'illuminazione, la ventilazione e il riscaldamento solo quando è necessario. Quindi diventa anche un piccolo passo di efficientamento degli impianti nei negozi dove c'è tantissima dispersione di energia.
Super interessante, veramente molto molto interessante. Ma ti faccio una domanda così, a bruciapelo. È stato difficile progettare o arrivare, diciamo, a un MVP che fosse funzionante?
No, assolutamente no. Infatti la cosa di cui mi sono stupito di più è che il sistema è già dotato di tutte le funzioni che mi servivano, ed è per quello che è stato illuminante applicarlo nel progetto che avevo in mente, in quanto bastava solo attaccare la spina e accenderlo. Non ho fatto altro che prendere gli esempi, il codice di tutto quello che è la libreria e documentazione già pubblicata, per costruire veramente in poche ore. Infatti un altro elemento incredibile di questa iniziativa sono il pochissimo tempo che ho impiegato nel costruirlo e soprattutto nel connetterlo al cloud, che è risultato veramente semplice e immediato nell'utilizzo. Per assurdo, come vedete dal video, dalle immagini, è stato più complicato, se vogliamo, costruire il camerino di prova su cui installare le apparecchiature e quindi tutta la parte fisica di montaggio rispetto alla programmazione vera e propria del codice.
Wow. E senti, progetti per il futuro, visto che Oplakit già...
Esatto, ma sicuramente con questo graditissimo premio e questa sorpresa inaspettata, penso che l'utilizzerò esclusivamente nella parte pro di Arduino, che proprio questa settimana ho visto le presentazioni e direi che siamo veramente a un passo molto importante. Io mi occupo di elettronica industriale per lavoro e quindi da tempo utilizzo Arduino solo esclusivamente per la prima fase, la prototipazione rapida. Poi nella parte applicativa dobbiamo utilizzare sistemi, microprocessori e schede diciamo professionali. Queste nuove schede, quindi la portenta e le altre novità che ho visto questa settimana, sono veramente un punto di svolta e penso che utilizzerò il premio proprio per recuperare queste schede che utilizzerò professionalmente. Quindi direi wow, assolutamente grandioso anche il risultato, oltre che le iniziative che avete presentato.
Ottimo, ci fa molto piacere. Pierluigi, io ti ringrazio di aver partecipato ad Arduino Cloud Games e anche di avermi regalato questi 10 minuti per un'intervista. Ti faccio in bocca al lupo per i progetti futuri con la portenta e nulla, se vuoi salutare la nostra community, lascio a te gli ultimi saluti.
Perfetto, grazie. Io ringrazio tutto il team sia per l'opportunità sia per l'occasione che dà a ciascuno di noi di costruire i nostri progetti in maniera veramente facile e intuitiva. Quindi assolutamente al di là del cloud game voglio veramente ringraziare il team, i fondatori di Arduino, perché hanno creato una community e un sistema che veramente permette di realizzare i nostri progetti.
Grazie
Saluti
mille.
a tutti.
Ciao, buona giornata.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, hi, I'm Spanner from Arduino. I'm here with Flavio Cerise, who is one of the contestants in the Arduino Cloud Games. In fact, Flavio, your project is the top Arduino Cloud Game project. How does that feel?
I can't believe it. It's great. I didn't think I can win the Arduino Cloud Games.
It's a great project. You know, it's not been easy picking the top three, but we really enjoyed it. You can actually see it there behind Flavio. Let me read out what your original pitch was for entering the Cloud Games. I've got it up here on my screen. So when you first contacted us about this, you said, my girlfriend is really good with cakes and pastries and love to eat what she cooks. But some recipes need leavening time at specific temperatures and humidity. And that's why she's always asking you to build a leavening chamber.
Yeah, that was my original idea. While I was waiting for the Opla kit to arrive, I think, what can I add to my project to make it more fancy? And I think that I can add an ultrasonic sensor in the top of the chamber, so we can see how much the dowel can live in. And that's it. The Arduino, the Opla is here. The controls. I have make an option menu that can be more bigger in the future. You can choose the language, English, Italian, from France. I have a France
that's nice.
that can translate maybe, and an option for the Celsius or Fahrenheit. Here we use the Celsius, but in America I use the Fahrenheit. And that's it. You set the temperature, the humidity. The chamber starts to set. When you reach the target, it's set to put inside the duct and press start. You press start. You measure the duct height, and you keep the temperature and the humidity. You can control with the Arduino app. Raise or lower the temperature or the humidity.
Well, that's right, because you put the controls in a cloud dashboard as well as using the ones on the actual Opla kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice idea. So, and have you used it yet? Have you baked anything?
Yeah. In the video presentation, that's funny. I use it, and we make some sort of pizza. And it was good. It worked really well, because I live in a house with low humidity, and make a leavening was difficult. The duct never raised so much, so I built this, and it worked well.
So, what was the biggest challenge when you were making the Bakerino?
The building of the chamber was not so easy, because I have to find a space to put the humidifier, and put the aluminum was not so easy, but maybe the time. I have not much spare time, so finding the time to build it was not so easy.
So, do you have any plans for maybe like the next project, or anything you may add to the Bakerino?
Yeah, my next project is to build a lawnmower for my garden.
Do you mean like a robot lawnmower?
Yeah, a robot lawnmower that can mow the lawn alone. But I think it will be really difficult.
But it's a cool project, though. You should see the size of my back garden. I need one of those. That sounds great. Yeah, well, make sure you post that on Project Hub too.
Okay, for sure.
Good idea. Well, thanks very much for joining in with the Cloud Games. It was really nice to see the project and to meet you at last.
Thank you to all the Arduino staff to send me the Opla kit to make me participate and to make me win.
That's great. Thank you, Flavio. Cheers.
Thank you.
And we're back, and Arduino Week 2022 is over.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a big effort. We had some amazing contribution from people from the community. I've seen people that watched every single day. They watched the event every single day for 6 days. It's just amazing. And
yeah, Massimo, but I received also very positive feedback. So I would like also to take the time to congratulate Massimo and the entire marketing team, because they have been working not only this week, just night and day, but also for the last few months, I believe. So congratulations, guys, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, we try to challenge ourselves every year. So, we went from a small Arduino day to Arduino Week, but also because the funny thing is that when you start asking the Arduino community, please send us some material, something that you want to talk about, then we could do Arduino month if we want. Clearly, there's some people in the team who need to go to the hospital, but so that's why we have to pack it to Arduino Week. But it is amazing the amount of energy and positive, feedback. And when we had the Pro Day, we had one of the companies that was mentioned in the Pro Day send us a very nice email to congratulate. So it's very positive, a lot of work. I see some people from Arduino also in the chat. Ciao, Judith. Thank you also for being one of the hosts of this event. Judith partire. So yeah, because also, honestly, obviously in a lot of videos you see me, but it's tiring in a way for you to watch me. But there's actually a bunch of cool people who work at Arduino. You've seen some of them in these sessions, and I think it's important that you get to see as many people as possible from Arduino, because every single one of them is way better than me at doing this, and much more amazing. But hey, so thank you very much. We are now going to go and have a slice of cake, and we let you go back to your Saturday. But I just want to say again, thank you very much for the energy and the positive messaging. If you want, you can watch all the sessions right now on our YouTube channel or directly on our website, week.arduino.cc. And I also want to thank the people who organize the hundreds and hundreds of events that happen physically in different parts of the world. This morning, I went to one in Ivrea, just outside of Torino, because it was very close by, but hundreds of communities right now have organized events
for Arduino.
Yeah. Like our friend Brenda Amboya from Ghana and everything else. So it's amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think across the globe. How many?
Across the globe.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just a lot. If you can see them on the map. And so thank you very much from the crew at Arduino.
And I think from all of us, from the executive team, all the business unit leaders that you saw in the videos this week, from I think all the employees. And of course, we would like to listen to your feedback. So any kind of feedback or areas where we can improve is going to be really welcome, and will be a lot of experience that we accumulate for the next year. Also, because we are not a TV studio, even though we made this show look very professional this year. So
we are
so
improving.
happy.
We are improving every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's actually, send us a lot of feedback. It's very important. Two very last important things. First of all, as Spanner is mentioning in the chat, you should check out sites.arduino.cc/AUG, the Arduino user group. We are rebooting the Arduino user group. And the best way is, if you have organized an Arduino Week, Arduino Day celebration in your country, in your community, turn it into an Arduino user group. It's an amazing thing. You will be connected with us. There's a lot of cool things. The last thing I want to say, which is also important, Arduino is hiring for a number of positions. So go to careers.arduino.cc and look at the jobs that are published there. Some roles are even fully remote, some other roles are more mixed, we have a long history of hiring people that come from the community. And so please apply. We want you to be here with us in this streaming next year.
Yes.
After this,
thank you very much
and goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.